Okay. I'm so annoying because I've been doing YouTube. I've been making videos on average twice a year for approximately 30 years. And I have never purchased proper YouTube equipment. And many of you have pointed this out to me, and I've pointed it out to me, and I've pointed it out to me, pointing it out to you by telling you guys, I know I have terrible audio, etc. But I never did anything about it, and shit hit the fan during my last video while I was editing it. The sound was so terrible, and the last few videos I've been filming in my office, and there's a big, lovely wall of windows facing Manhattan. It's just gorgeous, except there's no way to control the light, and I was using an ancient camera that was literally like 15 years old that didn't have any autofocusing or anything, so if the sun came out, it would just make me extremely bright and blown out, and the footage would be ruined. Anyway, the point is, I did not have the proper equipment, and all that changed when I was filming my last video because I was like, I can abide by this no longer. So I got a new microphone. Can I lift it up? It won't ruin anything. Oh, wow, real microphone. A new camera, and a new computer for editing, because I didn't have any of those things, and I was using ancient equipment that did not work most of the time. I set it all up today to just film a really short video and test it all out, and I saw myself on the monitor, and I filmed a little clip, and I listened to the audio, and I got so mad at myself for not doing this sooner. I'm so mad, because most of all, I realize now looking at the monitor, this entire time, you guys didn't even know how pretty I am. What a waste. So anyway, congratulations. Now we all get to see how beautiful my face is and how lovely my voice is because you can hear it and you can see me. Incredible. So today I wanted to test out my equipment and also just make a very short video about something that I'm obsessed with, and just share a couple tips. And you know what? This is a bit of a niche. I hate that word. Decide how you're pronounced. Send out a memo and stop making me feel stupid when I try to say it. Okay? Niche. More like a beach bitch of a word. Anyway, those of you that follow me on Instagram know that I'm obsessed with Facebook Marketplace. I don't actually use Facebook, but I'm obsessed with Facebook Marketplace and finding things secondhand, especially stuff from my house. Growing up, going to garage sales and finding treasure, whether it's like home decor, furniture, or clothes, with my mom was my absolute favorite activity. She used to wake me up on Saturday mornings really early and be like, we're going garage sailing. And we would go out and we would drive through all of these neighborhoods that had a lot of like rich old ladies and go to the estate sales and garage sales and get treasure. And I love treasure, and I love treasure hunting. So we moved recently into a new apartment, and I've been pretty committed to furnishing it entirely with stuff that's secondhand and from Facebook Marketplace. And when I post the things that I find on my stories, I genuinely do. People are always like, I get so many questions. And I'm like, no, I actually do get so many questions from you guys for like tips on how I find the goods, the treasure. So I wanted to share a few of those tips with you on how to find good shit on Facebook Marketplace. I also check Craigslist and stuff, but Facebook Marketplace has kind of taken over for me. I do find it helpful to be able to see like the person behind it. I don't know. I still love thrift stores, consignment stores, Craigslist, and Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is just usually where I check the most because I also feel like more people are posting there now. All right. So I don't know, I'm not on the inside at Facebook, so I don't know what their algorithm is, but I have some suspicions that I wanted to share with you. So the first thing is to figure out something you're interested in and then start typing in keywords related to that thing. That sounds obvious, but bear with me for a second. So for example, if I'm looking for a bamboo end table, I'm going to search bamboo end table. And then when I see things that I like, even if they're more expensive than what I want to buy, like if somebody's selling their bamboo end table and it's $300 and I want to spend $60 on one, in my made up idea of the number in my head. I'm still going to click on the one that I like the look of, and I'm still gonna like save it, because you can click like save, and then you can go back and check the listings that you saved. Because what I have noticed is that the things that I search for and the things that I save, it does start to put in my feed. So I don't totally understand its system, but I know that when I click on and interact with listings that have visual similarities to what I want, and when I save them, I start seeing more of them in my suggested feed. Which brings me to my next tip. Do a little research, do a little sleuthing. For example, one of the greatest regrets of my life, dramatic, was for a bamboo end table. Someone posted it. I thought, wow, this is really cool and unique. It was $30, but it was like an hour and a half away, and it was rush hour. And I had my son at home, so I was like, what am I going to do with him? I don't know. And I hesitated for like 2 minutes while talking with her. And in the time that I was like, should I go pick it up right now? She sold it to someone else, and then I looked it up and it was worth like $2,000, and it's super unique. And then I went insane trying to find something similar. So when I was trying to find something similar, what I did was I started trying to find things just through Google that were the same style of table. So I'm searching like bamboo table, and it was actually not bamboo. I came to find out it was a split reed table, so it's where it's like a lot of lines all together. I'll show a photo because that did not make sense. But anyway, the point is, as I was researching it, I started finding all of these different words that are associated with this style of vintage furniture. So split reed, bamboo, rattan, cane, wicker. There's all these different ways that people might describe the same thing. Like when we're talking about those tables, it's like a wicker table, and I'll show a photo. A wicker table that's sort of like twisted. The words that get used with that are like peacock, sunburst, wicker, rattan, bamboo. Like people throw all these words around to describe the same type of thing. So figure out what you're looking for and then research that thing a little bit, and you'll start to find like, oh, this is the name of a designer who used to make this type of thing. So you can start searching all the different ways that that thing might come up. Like for example, cantilever chairs. Those are also made by a designer named, I don't know if it's Cheska or Seska. I've tried to find someone saying it out loud and I can't. I'm having a lot of insecurities in this video about how I say words. Maybe because you guys can hear me so well on this microphone now. Cantilever chairs are also from the Bauhaus era, so you can start to learn like, what era is this piece of furniture from? What designers made this furniture? What materials is it made out of? And what shape is it? And those are sort of the things I try to find out, because then I can search like, okay, if I'm looking for an Art Deco lamp, I can search, okay, well, Art Deco lamps, these shapes were really popular, so I can start to search like shell lamp, and I'll find a bunch of things that are Art Deco or Art Deco lamp, or like pink ceramic lamp. And as I start searching those things, more and more of them come up in my feed, and the more I save them and interact with them, the more curated my feed is, and then the more when I'm like, you know, I really want a lamp for this spot in the living room, it's a lot easier for me to find stuff. So that's actually a huge part of my little system, is just finding the different words and interacting with them and those posts and things that I like, just so that it gets curated and I start to see the things I want to see. Another tip, I have found that if you search the more simple, obvious, so curate everything so you're seeing the right stuff, and I feel like it must have some sort of, the algorithm must have a component of just like visually similar images and not just keywords. So once it has an idea of the kinds of stuff that I like, if you search the more simplistic, sort of obvious explanations of what something is, they tend to be cheaper. Like if somebody knows that this chair is a cantilever chair, like if they know the word cantilever in association with this chair, then they also likely know that it's worth some money compared to a different old chair. Same thing with like Bauhaus. Like if they're familiar with that era of furniture, then they're also familiar with the fact that that chair is worth a few $100. However, if you just search like vintage metal chair, you're more likely to find somebody who's like, do you have $40? Same thing for like bamboo is more known than rattan. Rattan is also pretty known when it comes to like things like that. Wicker is like, sometimes you search like wicker table and you find like a really cool vintage piece and they're like, I don't know, it's an old wicker table. And you're like, you don't know that it's a cool old wicker table. It's actually bamboo. I'm gonna buy it. So knowing all of the information to be able to search is helpful, but then also occasionally just searching like the absolute most basic way to describe something is a good way to find deals. Next tip. Geography. I recommend expanding your search range because you can find really cool stuff like right outside of cities and usually for a better price, which segues into my last tip for like how to find cool things, which is if you're looking for whether it's clothes or furniture pieces or anything, going on like a day trip, or if you live in an area like this that you don't have to, but going on like a day trip outside of the city that you live in to specifically, there's a sweet spot that is thrift stores and consignment stores. Basically go into places that don't have a huge hipster population but are near a cool area is the place to find cool stuff that has not already been priced really high. And my last tip has to do with the pricing. So it totally depends on like how rare something is and how much you care about having it and your timeline. For me, patience is a virtue when it comes to this sort of thing because I don't have a lot of patience in life, but I do have a lot of patience with this because sometimes it's like there'll be something I'm looking for and people keep posting it and they keep posting it for a few $100s and I'm like, I don't want to buy it for a few $100s. I want to buy it for $50, so I'm just going to wait. So I just check. Sometimes I set up a little search term alert and I wait for when there's that moment of somebody who's like, I just want to get rid of this, or I don't really know what it's worth, or I just don't care about it and I just want it gone, which I can relate to. Sometimes I'm like, someone just take this, please. So sometimes it's just a matter of taking time and waiting for when you find the thing and find it at a good price. But when it comes to actually making an offer, my best piece of advice is that, first of all, don't be a jerk and like way undercut what someone has posted as the price. But I have found that if you check, you can see how long a listing has been up. So if a listing's been up for like 3 or more weeks, I'm going to offer a lower price. And I've also found more success with when I reach out to somebody, first of all, obviously being really nice, but asking like, are you willing to take offers on this? So they already sort of feel like, okay, you're not just like, I give you $20 for it when they posted $200 for it. But if it's been up for a few weeks, or in general, I'll just sort of ask like, hey, is this still available? I'm really interested. And are you interested in taking offers? And that already puts them in a position of like, okay, yeah, let me hear you out. Usually in my unofficial experience, if you offer like 20% under what they were asking, if it's already a pretty reasonable price, that's like kind of safe. But if it's been up for longer, or maybe they posted it for a lot and you can tell they just have not been getting any interest, then sometimes you can, offer lower than that and meet in the middle. I do recommend offering something a little bit under what you're willing to pay, because even if it's a $5 increment, if I'm like, oh, I would spend $70 on this, I'll probably offer $60, because usually your first thing they say, they always feel like they have to say something back. So yeah, those are my tips for buying things on Facebook Marketplace. Really, really obsessed with doing this and I love it. And I'm going to be posting more things on my TikTok of my projects that I'm doing with some of these things and fixing up. Oh, that's another last good tip. If something has like DIY in it, or they're like, oh, you might need to fix this up a little bit, learn from my mistakes and do a little research on how hard to fix that thing. How hard it is to fix that thing. Because sometimes you're like, oh, that's easy. And then there's some things where you're like, oh, that wouldn't be hard. And then you get into it and you're like, oh my God, this is really fucking complicated to fix. But some things are very, very simple and people just don't want to be bothered. And that can be, a good thing for you. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening and seeing my beautiful face and hearing my beautiful voice for the first time in all these years. I think you're all really cool people and I'm excited to see you again in a couple weeks. And maybe I'll have done something back here. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm very excited about my new equipment. Yay for actually trying. It's good. It's good to try. All right. I will see you guys later. Goodbye.